And Agenda Bill 107-10, remand of the sign regulation amendments. Mrs. Boyce.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is a request that City Council consider remanding the sign code that has been gone before Planning Commission already. Planning Commission did hold numerous work sessions. I believe there was 5 or 6 of them, and did hold a public hearing already on this. Subsequent to that hearing and them forwarding a recommendation forward to City Council, staff became aware of need for legal scrutiny of the proposed amendments and even some of existing sign code, particularly the exemptions that we have in there. So I am requesting that you will adopt staff's findings that the Planning Commission public hearing record is insufficient. The process was flawed based on the need for legal review of the proposed amendments related to evaluation for consistency with the city's legal power to regulate signs. Therefore, I have quite a long recommended action. Make a motion to remand the sign code amendments back to Planning Commission based on the findings that were identified in the body of this agenda bill as follows. For legal review of the amendments, for an additional public hearing to supplement the record upon which the Planning Commission will base its recommendation, and a recommendation that that they consider it prior to the last meeting in December of 2010.
Do we have to do them 3 at a time? Or can we do them all in one motion?
I believe you can do them all in one motion.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second to adopt the staff recommendations. Questions by council? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a comment. I ran for the seat on the council because as a member of the Planning Commission, I objected to being constantly overturned by the council. In your remanding this back to the Planning Commission, would you thank them for their efforts?
Absolutely.
Explain our reason for doing so, and tell them we look forward to seeing it again?
Yes, that's some of the concerns that you raised is the reason why I didn't bring it forward to you and have you make the changes. Therefore, you would be changing the Planning Commission's recommendation. That's another reason I really recommend that it be remanded for their work.
Great decision. Thank you.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Agenda Bill 108-10, amendments to the city's department head manual. Mr. Scott.
Mayor and Council, this agenda bill was before you at workshop last week, and I believe prior to that as well. It's an ordinance that will amend the effective date of the department head's manual to the effective date of that ordinance, and adopting the manual with some changes. Summary of those changes are that on page 3, you'll note it deletes reference to previous human resources actions in public safety and the types of department heads that we had in that arena. On page 4, it makes some clarifications in longevity pay, but it doesn't make any substantive changes there. Those are just clarifications. Secondly, on page 4, it begins to make some changes in the severance provisions of the manual by grandfathering existing department heads to the current provisions. On page 5, it goes on with severance to clarify the applicability of the severance, introduces a new schedule day forward where 1 month of severance would be earned for each year of service up to a maximum of 6. On page 5, it also goes on to discuss sick leave. It grandfathers folks under the existing manual, and then day forward it eliminates the payout of 25% of accrued sick leave upon separation. And finally, on page 5, it eliminates language referring to left one employees. We no longer have those responsibilities in the manual. There's some similar deletions with respect to left one at the top of page 6. On page 6, it goes on to look at vacation, and again, in the spirit of our recommendation, grandfathering existing employees under the manual, And then day forward, it slows down the rate of vacation accrual for department heads and other non-represented exempt employees. And I would just note, I believe in your packet, Exhibit B, which is the actual section of the code 2.104.010, it says that it will be effective today, and actually it will be effective on the effective date of the ordinance. You know, there's always a little bit of time that happens. That's just a editorial clarification to the exhibit. So the recommended action this evening is to read the ordinance by title only, adopting the proposed amendments to the department head manual, and then to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner.
I ask unanimous consent that we read the ordinance by title only.
Second. Oh, never mind.
Seeing no objections, so ordered.
An ordinance amending Washougal Municipal Code 2.104.010 related to vacation accrual, severance, and sick leave provisions for department heads hired after July 6, 2010.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to pass, post, and publish ordinance in the usual manner.
Second.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I do support the changes in the manual, and I'm glad that the mayor and the staff has come up with these changes. The one objection that I have with regards to the agenda bill we're passing tonight has to do with grandfathering the employees who were hired before this change. And I completely understand that it's a delicate issue. We've discussed it before at workshop. My personal recommendation on the, or I should say, my personal issue with this is that in the private sector, very often the contract that you signed or the agreement that you had with your employer is amended and changed, and your pay scale can change, and assumptions, well, sometimes assumptions are not always borne out. And on a personal note, I had this brought home to me personally this last week, and in honor of being hired by Horizon Airlines 10 years ago, and wearing my service pin that they gave me, at the same time they told me I'd probably get a pay cut. It's an ironic statement that they gave me. They say, here's your 10-year service pin, thanks for being with us, and by the way, you're probably not going to be a captain in November. Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. And it reminded me that there, in the private sector, we very often take pay cuts. And so for that reason, I'll be voting no, but I completely support the changes that are being put in as far as the ultimate changes.
Other comments? Okay, Mr. Mayor. Dave?
Thank you. I think the changes are heading in the right direction. But, big but, I think the benefits package is still too rich, and my comment pertains to the benefits and in no way deprecates the efforts and accomplishments of incumbents in these positions. My concern is the long-term ability of the city to fund salaries and benefit packages this rich, and that is solely my concern here. And I don't see that addressed adequately in these changes. It's a good start, but it needs to be advanced. Thank you.
Other members? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.